All right, and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the final week of the ESL Pro League. It's time to start things off with what could end up being a pretty one-sided match here, unfortunately. It is going to be Renegades taking on Rogue, and as Renegades just came back from China, placing off their, I think they took their first place victory at a tournament. Actually, no, they won the minor, too, so they had that as well. But their first non-minor victory in quite a while. They managed to take the Starlighter tournament, so they're coming back, and they're probably feeling pretty good about themselves.
Yeah, back-to-back, man, they're riding high. I mean, that's a good place to be. I think, yeah, if that is their first and second tournament wins, they've ever been feeling better. But they're coming back to ESL Pro League, and now they're playing matches that they absolutely need to win. It's imperative that they win these matches, and if they do, they'd probably be in a pretty good place. They'd be at a positive record, I think 9-8, and they'd be in contention to go to Odense, which I'm sure that's the next thing, and probably the first goal of their season, which was a few months ago. So this is a big deal, and this is a team that they should definitely beat. Now, it's a long way back from Shanghai. It's quite the
time difference too.
Yeah, quite a big time difference. It's quite the haul. You would have to expect, as well as huge adrenaline dump from winning that last LAN and thinking got to come back to play some games that are online, but after some jet lag and after a big win. Your mind has probably been in a few different places. It might be hard to get it together and bring it to Rogue, who have been just kind of sitting at home this entire time.
Yeah. And there is, well, actually, Rogue played at the, they were at a LAN this weekend too, if I remember correctly. They were playing at the Asus RG tournament. There was like a 3-team tournament. There was like them, Mythic, and I think Splice, if I recall correctly, were playing to that tournament as well. And that was actually right here in Los Angeles. So they played at that this weekend. And so both teams are just coming back fresh from LAN. And obviously Renegade's going to be a little bit more exhausted than the others, but we are live into the match. Shazzer starting it off with a pretty quick push. They're underpass here, but they don't notice Vice hiding off in the little cubby. He's going to be able to sneak in a kill. Teammates still staying alive as well. And now the other two players push in through the door. They completely decimate this entire hit coming in through the tunnels. And that leaves only Nifty alive in a 1v4 situation here. Pretty much impossible to recover from. He is going to have to push back down there since the bomb is now placed inside of there. But still, what a way to start it off for Rogue here.
Yeah, it was just kind of their phase one to get into the stairs and up the stairs, and Rogue decided to set up to stop them right there in their tracks. And there it is. The round's over. Rogue win the first pistol. That's a big deal, and it looked very convincing. And Renegades, they just wanted to clear out stairs. They were expecting maybe to find 1 or 2 people, go 1-for-1 on those trades, get up the stairs, start working on bathroom patrols, maybe hit A with Nifty, who seemed to want to hit A with his team, and they couldn't even get phase 1 done. So it's really good for Rogue, really bad for Renegades, who now spend a little bit of money, don't decide to put all into armor. I appreciate this. And because they didn't get a plan as well, aren't looking forward to a bye next round. Right back to stairs control, and 3 players out to balloons and long.
This time it's obviously going to be a much slower crawl through those tunnels to make sure they can clear our connector properly, and won't be any presence at all now here for Rogue, as they do sit outside of it this time around. But still going to keep pretty heavy presence, especially towards short A at the exit to the bathrooms themselves. So watch out for close contests, especially if Shinobi decides to peek here. Azur's going to be pushing forward, but it's actually Naf that takes the first shots, and CTs will respond with just a quick smoke pop-off to try and delay the momentum from the Renegades, but it actually won't stop him. Azur's going to push right forward. He gets the headshot on Shinobi, and will take up position in the corner right behind the flower pot here. That's going to let his teammates move up. Nifty finds the second, so they've got the momentum rolling here. Now they just have to make sure they don't get tripped up on the actual site taken. As they move in, Hiko try to spam into it, but he's taking way more damage. He's dishing out. He still manages to get 1 kill. The problem is now we've got the second player behind Semi in a very similar situation. Wrath will fall without a trade, and that leaves only Vice alive, so it looks like more than likely this is going to end up in an eco victory for the Renegades. Vice, though, will still make his best attempt at the 1v4.
He'd like to at least do some damage. That'd be a big win, because at this point I don't think he's thinking about winning.
So just trying to wait for these guys to peek back out, and smart moves from the Renegades, just get all 3, then a peek at once. This was a round that they were not even planning on winning, so it doesn't really matter if they had to throw away additional players there, and they trade the round back very quickly, taking us up to 1-1.
Yeah, that's a really nice way to bring it back. Now, it seemed like a lot of the pressure was on Shinobi to get as many kills as he could, or just stay alive, but him getting killed straight up by the CZ and not even doing damage to that player put so much emphasis on a Hiko left on the site, and that wasn't enough to hold it together for Rogue. So I think maybe the flaw in their setup was being a little unprepared for anything fast like Renegades were planning. And now on the eco round, Rogue flashing out to bathrooms, but a couple of these flashes have been dodged, and there
you go.
That's a good cleanup.
Very quick cleanup there to give Renegades their second round and obviously prevent the immediate upset from Rogue there to try and send this game into chaos of trades back and forth again. So Rogue should be put onto one more eco round here, just a light save from them. Probably P250s are going to be the most we'll see, but after that they should be able to get the gun run. However, it will end up now being the Renegades who, while they originally took the pistol, lost the second round, but then, or excuse me, while they lost the pistol, they recovered in the second round and now have the lead going in their favor.
It was something that Hiko said, actually, that always stuck out in my mind. That's if you don't have a plan for the eco, you might as well skip the round. I always really appreciated that. And there's the opportunity, obviously, once in a while to actually win it. But here, with a stack towards B, it's clear that they have the intent to gamble and hope that Renegades run into them. The bomb, however, is as far away as it could possibly be. And there is nobody on the A site to prevent them from creeping up slowly, or to shy them away. So most likely walk in, get a plant, and Renegades are pretty well spread out, but since they don't have info anywhere else, they're probably worried about B.
Naf's going to back out of here, but he does manage to take out one player on the way. It's more of a matter of survival for him now, and they've already moved other players from the Renegades into position to cut off any quick rotates if Rogue would try to go for exits. They will still manage to take out Naf simply because they kind of had him surrounded right from the get-go there, and that will be a free gun going into the hands of Rogue. It's nothing major, though. It's only an ump that you now see in the hands of Vice that may just end up getting ditched in the next round anyway. Besides that, it's just Renegades trying to hunt down these last few players, and there we go. 1-2 cleanup, and they won't even save that up, as Vice does end up getting taken down, and Renegades secure the 3-1 lead, and they have quite a bit of money already, even with just 3 rounds won here. Nifty sitting at 9.2K already. Yeah,
never underestimate the power of those anti-ecos to make sure they're as clean as possible. Rogue, on the other hand, are not doing too bad themselves. Cadians picked up the op, so they're going to be in their comfort zone. And on the CT side of Overpass, with such long angles from the site, so much map control that you can grab for free as a CT, it's very important and useful to have an op. Now it looks like a quick B might be on the docket for the Renegades as they run out Monster.
Rat's not going to be able to get this out in time. Actually, no, excuse me, he does get the flashback out, and that's going to let Cadian pick up the first kill. His flash actually might not have been the one that found as much impact, but they're just completely shutting this hit down from the Renegades. They don't make any progress at all. It's down to just 2 of them now, and they've done essentially 0 damage to Rogue, besides bringing Wrath down to 1/3 of his HP. He will pop flash back in, but it's a complete firing squad sitting against him when he goes out into the open there. And it'll be easy to secure those last 2 kills. A very clean first gun round for Rogue, and they're right back on the map.
And there we see the difference between letting a team execute on you and throwing a good couple of counter nades. So this flashbang we can only see from one perspective, but blinds everybody coming out Monster. So even Wrath was able to escape, even though the molly landed perfectly on him. And it was a cool running execute from the Renegades, but just enough, there was just enough ability for Rogue to telegraph it that they were able to shut it down completely for only $200.
Yeah. Just completely destroys Renegades' plans there as they attempted to quick execute. Now, mentioned this in the last round too, Renegades did build up quite a lot of cash in those few anti-ecos that they managed to pick up for themselves, so they're still going to be good to buy in for at least this round, maybe the next round too. Rogue, of course, in a similar situation now since they win that first gun round so cleanly. And they're also going to get the first kill, try to get the second, not going to happen, but Hiko can sneak right around, and he lines up the trade to take down Ustil. Now Naf is on his own mission here, going to be sneaking into the B-bomb site. No one suspects him, but he can only go 1 for 1. Wrath, right below the tracks, will be able to trade him out and keep the advantage going for Rogue here, as Renegades again seem a little bit lost down to their last 2 players. Still a full utility on both of them, so the options are open. It looks like they're going to go for just a pretty straightforward BXQ, smoking out Heaven, mollying out any of the cheeky spots where they may get surprised by a hiding player on Rogue, and then just having to clear out areas like Pit and CT, but unfortunately haven't cleared it out enough. Cadian's going to be there with the op. It's an easy shot for him to take down Azza, and for JKS, the odds are making this look pretty much impossible for him, but he has a good intel, so can at least try to play this smart. Still hasn't seen the player in Pit yet, though, so he's going to have to watch out for that, too. And there we go. That's the exact player that takes him down.
Wow, it seemed like Wrath had an angle where he couldn't even see his full body, maybe just a part of it, but then set himself up to spam really well. And there's really no chance for JKS in that 1v3 from that point on. So 3-3, Rogue pull it back. I'm truly surprised to see this. It seemed like after the second round was taken, it was going to be a quick 16-2 or something crazy where Renegades just seemed like they're coming back huge on confidence after such a strong pistol from Rogue. But Rogue really impressing here with their sight holds, and they're in their default as well. So overall, nice performance from each player on the team, making sure to deny any forward A control, which you always like to see on the CT side. And as for Renegades, on not a broken buy, it is kind of a force up, but they have 3 AKs, so it's justifiable.
It's not to be understated as well, this is also a pretty important match for Rogue, not just for the Renegades trying to remain in the top 6, but more so for Rogue trying to outrun Ghost at this point, as they're second to last in the league. So if they can stay that way, obviously, they can avoid outright relegation. They're still going to be at risk for relegation through playing the Premier move-ups, but if they win these 2 matches here, they should be able to outrun Ghost pretty easily and make sure that they at least just have to play for relegation instead of outright just getting dropped down to the lower level there over at MDL. As the fight continues, again, Rogue handling this pretty easily for the most part here. Bit of an overpeak from Hiko there, so that's going to give him away to Azure. But besides that, it's down to a 3v2, and Renegades have just halted all momentum. They've gotten themselves up to the flower pots, but have not been able to push any further than that. With Azure already down low at 13 HP, he's going to be falling back. He's going to go check the B site, or at least throw a smoke into heaven. But it looks like he'll just go right back upstairs. They're trying to throw rotates back downstairs, and it seems to have worked pretty well, actually. But I think one player is still going to stick up here in the event that this was a ruse.
They are playing pretty much retake on A, though, at this point, so that might be something for the Renegades. Now, the worst thing they can do is take too much time, because they have sold the fake, but a team's not going to bite on this for the entire round, especially if they don't see anything. And will Cadian have a target walk right into his op? He'll spot one, but they know that with the op that far back, well, now we have the site to ourselves. So bomb goes down, 2v3. They're going to need a kill, though, to make this competitive.
Yeah, and with Azure being as low as he is, he's going to have to be careful with these peaks. That one's a headshot, so doesn't end up mattering too much. Vice just takes him right out of the fight. And JKS has already been hit, although I'm not entirely sure if Wrath realized he tagged him there a little bit. JKS now going to sneak around, but he doesn't have the correct positioning. So Wrath will still take him down, and it's still a relatively clean retake. They did let the plant go off there, which was good for Renegades to at least get that, so they get some bonus cash, but still could not win the 2v3. So Rogue comes out on top once again, and now takes the lead.
Yeah, another great round, and here's the round getting started off by Cadian. So one thing I really appreciate about this is that you have too many times you see an opper push up on A and then fall back just because they get kind of nervous. But it's really important for them to have impact, not only stay alive and play the game and spot for some information. They have to get a kill or two, and if you fall back, you limit the amount of options you have to fall back, and eventually you're going to have to re-peak. So you put himself in a good spot and his team in a good spot by getting those first 2 frags before going ultra passive in the site. And from there, the retake was quite easy.
And Rogue is once again going to put their players forward into the B site. Wrath will play underneath of the tracks to try and watch for any early movement coming out of Monster. Won't be able to see anything just yet, but odds are more than likely he is going to get himself a fight here in a couple of seconds, with Renegades once again lining up for a direct B hit, just delaying the timer down since they don't have all that much utility. So trying to remove the stack from the B site should the CTs have tried to go for that, since Renegades have made a pattern of going for the B site so often now. But when they peek it, again, they just don't have the utility to initiate here, so they keep giving away these early pre-fires to the CTs to do some early damage or just outright get a kill. Once again, we'll see that here, but actually the T's come out on top of that fight. JKS will be able to take out Wrath, and Vice just got wrecked by a flashbang. Took so long to recover from that. So the first 2 kills are theirs. Player at heaven, Hiko moves out to trade at least 1 kill away from this, but now Renegades will move in to go for the plant. They still have a +1 man advantage. Unfortunately, though, they are working with a majority of pistols, but Nifty, armed with an AK, can still look to do some serious damage. That's his goal right now, hiding in pit. It's going to be hard to take him down, so he strikes down another player, and all of a sudden, Rogue don't look too comfortable anymore, especially with Nath hitting a shot like that. Nifty will try to close it out. Shinobi trades there, but now he's been pincered. He's got nowhere to go. He can spot these players out, but it's going to be whack-a-mole for him, and he can't take them all down, so Azure will eliminate him, and the Renegades went out the force here at 4-4.
After stealing back the second round, winning the couple of rounds after that, the anti-ecos, they've only won rounds on eco rounds. And here's a couple of entries into the B side after we saw a couple of entries on A last time. And I can't tell if this is actually a good or bad sign for the Renegades, because this means that, well, I mean, I guess for them, they're just like rounds on the board. But does that mean that they're not playing the same as they are on the ecos as they are on the rifles, or does it mean that Rogue are just giving them opening frags on these rounds by happenstance? It's really hard to tell from the outside. I think we're going to need more data to make a true conclusion.
Well, Hiko's going to be able to move right in and gets himself an easy triple kill. JKS, Ustillo, and Nifty all go down to him due to not checking the A-long. It's the second time he's been able to successfully push off from A-long and kill at least 1 player hiding out in the playground, and that's pretty much killed their chances to keep these trades consistent and keep themselves in buying terms, as now Nath is going to be left alone to try and clutch a 1v4. He does finally trade onto Hiko, but he's got a long way to go before he even gets close to clutching out this round, as he'll just take it very slowly, clearing out the rest of the fountain area before he picks up that bomb and tries to work his way towards a site.
This is kind of the guy that you want to have at the end of the round, last alive. But even with a minute left, I mean, look at the mini map. It's so daunting. You have all this space between him and A site that he's got to clear, all these angles and bathrooms at long A, and he's got to pick an avenue, assume that CTs are in a couple of these spots, but skip a lot of them and make noise in the process. And then he has to pick a site. He's also got to get a couple of kills, and we're already down to 40 seconds after just saying that, and he's just made it to the top of stairs.
Looks like he is probably going to end up heading down here. Just wants to check the short position real quick. The problem is that he's going to have to immediately fight as soon as he opens this door, and oftentimes players don't expect this. Nav, probably one of the more aware players on Renegades, however, so you think he'd check it, but no. Wrath hiding down below inside of the water area is going to be able to just knock him out there and secure the round for Rogue.
Yeah, another round where they just get shut down to this forward A presence, and I got to say, man, Rogue are really impressing here. Now, I do wonder, again, if Renegades are just not taking care of their angles properly and getting caught off guard with this forward A pressure, but they should anticipate it. This is standard practice for Rogue. Now, Rogue are doing their part, and they're coming through. And if they tightened up on those anti-eco rounds, they would have had they would be far and away in the lead now. And they also maybe would have grabbed another eco round to work off of. But Renegades back on the save. They had kind of enough money to maybe think about buying, but now, I mean, I think it's clear that they want to save for ops and so on.
Once again, this two-man setup inside of the steps will work okay. Hiko's having some trouble to pick up the kill, and now he's going to be cornered a little bit. He's able to find the frag on Ustilo at very least, so trades out the death of his teammate from before, but now definitely wants to evacuate, and he will be able to safely make it out. And actually, Hiko's play down on the steps works as a great distraction. Once again, Renegade just keep getting caught at these off angles and losing players to it. And there's another great example of that right there. Down to a 2v4 here. Like I said, they've done damage to some others, just not really enough to, or I would believe anyway, this 2v4 is going to be winnable. If they play this slowly enough and knock out these players one by one, they might be able to just slowly wean themselves into a victory here, especially now scavenging that M4. Just have to take their way upstairs, look for slow control, but even out here, oh no, Wrath did unpeak the angle, so he's not going to immediately spot these players as he falls back more into the site. He could be caught in the open depending on the timing of this. Tries to get aggressive. JKS will get the better of him, however, and now it's a 2v3 with only one player still remaining on the A site. Move towards it, even tagging him through the dice box a little bit, so he's going to be forced to hide behind it. The first kill is easy, though, knocking out JKS, and it looks like NAF is going to call to save, I think. Actually, might just make a beeline for the B site.
Oh my God. He's
allowed to do it, too. That's the most surprising thing. I would have thought someone would have rotated down, but we're only just seeing that now.
That was kind of surprising. Oh! That was sick.
Knocks out Hiko. He's going to head over towards water to watch for the flank. This is unfortunately going to end up being an error, and I don't think there's a gun down there anymore because they already picked up the M4 from the previous fight. So he's still going to be stuck on that deagle, but he's allowed to go back in time. Spots the one player moving out of heaven. Hasn't seen the second yet, and he might actually confuse that player there for the first one here. With the molly holding him back, this is where this fight gets tough. It'll move in. Oh, and he brings Cadian down so low as well. Just not going to be able to take him out this time. So Rogue, once again, come out on top. It's a little bit closer this time, especially with Renegades onto an eco. It's impressive for them considering that, but again, Rogue will still win it.
Yeah, at least they tighten up on the anti-ecos now, and you would hope that they kind of walk away with this half, because as far as Renegades are concerned, on their rifle rounds, they've been able to get nothing done. They haven't been able to get to the site, get them bombed down. They've only done that on eco rounds, and Rogue pretty much haven't been tested fully. So you would assume that this could be up to 10, 11-4, 10-5 or 11-4 half, and hopefully we do see some adaptations from Renegades. I'm sure they have a lot more in store for us. But they're going to have to prove it to themselves. Certainly looking a tiny bit sloppy at the moment.
A very slow opener to the round from the Renegades again here. Not really taking a whole lot of control within the first 30 seconds. Only just now pushing past the smoke at the party steps. Move their way down into connector too. Which this will be clear this time. Rogue have been kind of on and off with connector pressure, so can't blame the Renegades for wanting to slowly go in and clear that out. But now that they've done that, it looks like this is shifting into a pretty standard B execute, which while Rogue hasn't been able to see this yet, I'm sure they're expecting it given the pattern that Renegades has been using so far on this T side. They've been big fans of executing into B. And not only considering that too, but also having Cadian as far forward as he is there in the bathroom connector. It's going to be able to call it. There's pretty much no pressure. Good initial flash, though. At least gets Wrath to look the other way, and NAF will get the opening kill off of that. But they've been smoked out of construction, so I think they're going to delay the hit until that's gone away. This
is actually really nice from Renegades. So they fall back because they realize there's going to be panic counter grenades now that the monster guy has been taken out. And they finally re-execute and get in the site.
I don't realize, however, the Hiko hides here, but it's actually Vice winning at the pole that gets that first kill on the inside. Vice having to hang on, can get one more, but Hiko racks up a double and now brings it down to a 2v1. Nifty's there to trade it, though, and Hiko panics and tries to retreat. So we go down to the 1v1. Nifty does not know where Cadian's hiding from. He's going to fake plant it, though, and he checks this angle and just scopes right in to take him down. Beautifully done by Nifty as he clutches it out for the Renegades and works well to bring them back into this game towards the end of the half.
The kid is too intelligent. That was very, very, very smart. And he waited just long enough, and you think, okay, maybe he's going to go back to planting the bomb. Maybe Cadian took long enough that he's not going to be aware of short. But instantly, he seemed to have gotten the idea that he was there. And I don't know if Cadian had gotten a kill, if there was any way that he would know that he was near the site at all. But whatever the read was, it was a good one. So Renegades close out a very important round. And actually, because they've done so much damage on their eco rounds, Rogue don't have much money to buy. So suddenly, they win a rifle. They did it off the back of a clutch, but all that matters is that they do it. And Rogue are putting a lot of stock in this, otherwise they're going to give up a lead.
Cadian
is This is,
oh. All right.
I think he was fully expecting a flash, not a dry peek. And
yeah.
Sometimes you have to play that game. He looks kind of crazy, but, you know.
Still's going to walk right in and knock out Shinobi, however, so makes easy work of that first kill. And with Cadian already down at 29 HP, it does not lend too much hope for Rogue to hold on in this round. But we'll wait and see, as they still have a couple interesting tidbits to their setup here, including the boost up to C inside of the connector if Renegades should try to put some pressure there. And we do have someone walking across it right now. This is all a matter of timing. If Rogue continue to hold on to this boost, then they'll be able to spot him, and there's no way Azur's going to check that. So it's an easy kill for Wrath. They pick up one. JKS is holding on the inside, though, and he'll almost immediately trade that back out, and they are obviously going to know there's a second player hiding out there somewhere. So they'll move out and hunt him down.
Seemed like Wrath was a little bit too eager to go and grab that weapon as soon as he possibly could. Now, he couldn't know that there were going to be T's there ready to trade, but it's kind of an assumption you want to make most of the time.
Nice holding, does get caught looking away, and really wanted to kill that Sandbags player, so will be caught staring at that angle while blind. He still takes him down without any kills to account for. That's a nice nade from Cadian, though. Makes quick work of knocking out Ustillo at least, so they do some damage here, but getting this close to the end of the half, in the long run of things, it's not going to matter soon, especially if Rogue remain broken, as now they have to pull their last two remaining players out of the fight and into the A long area, more than likely here to call for a save, as Renegades have just outwitted them there on the B site, and once again, will come out on top of this round.
They retain the op, which is very important. And this is quite the heater, though. I'm so surprised to see this.
It's this close.
Game be so back and forth. Exactly. Very interesting stuff. Hiko top on the scoreboard for Rogue, and would have had a little bit more shine if they had won that round that Nifty clutched out, because he had a really good spray to stop two players from getting in the site. I mean, that was another turning point of the round. There's been so many so far, and with this many back and forths, there's not a single round that either of these teams will look back on and say this is what lost this game, because it's been pretty much an amalgamation of them. I think from either side, they're more thinking about getting a positive half right now, because there's a ton of mistakes for both of them to look back on and fix, and then thinking about their T and CT side.
In general, Hiko's just been getting a whole load of kills just from good positioning. I think like 5 or 6 of his kills were because Renegades weren't checking his angle. So he's been able to either push out from A long and just kill players for free that are hiding out playground and not checking that position, or do what he did as well back in the B site wall. The Nifty's going to check it this time, however, as he finds Katie and then goes back in and checks Shinobi, finds one more. It's just easy cleanup, and there's number 4 as well, taking them down one by one, 4 times in a row. Vice will look to trade at least one of these players, but not going to happen, as Ustillo gets the final kill and makes quick work of the 7th for the Renegades.
He's so good, dude. Every time he took, just looked at them, they died. Found great angles. First of all, that was such a sick peek. I mean, it's such a unanticipated lineup, you know, to be able to come out and spot like that, and there it is, every single shot connecting. He makes it look super easy. I mean,
yeah, I know.
A lot of people would miss a couple of those shots. The pre-aims were really good, and that's why he made it look so easy. There wasn't too much flicking going on, which speaks to his consistency as an opera as well.
So Renegades preventing any economy issues in the long run there by making sure they get a clean run on that round, and they get exactly that. So Rogue will come back into it with a buy, and we should mention as well that was an eco in the last round too, so for the most part still pretty easy for Nifty to pick up, but impressive nonetheless that he does it in such a clean and smooth fashion.
I wonder if someday soon Nifty will be the best opera in North America.
That is an interesting question.
I don't even think the competition is too thick right now.
No, it's not. That's the thing, right? Because Skadoodle obviously is up and down for the most part.
Yeah.
JDM as well has his bad days, so besides that...
Got Stewie.
Yeah. Kusta as well in there, but the problem is like, yeah, it's just... It's really inconsistent across the board from like a lot of NA operators for whatever reason, but Nifty's been looking really good and really solid these last like 2 to 3 months now.
I think he's definitely in the conversation. Number 8 man, Cadian, top of the stairs, and they know it's not A, so we've got to rotate in. Renegades have just been setting up straight up, so it's good that that Rogue have been looking for information. Counter flashes come out. Wrath found an interesting spot, but only gets 1 from it.
Quick trades as you still up. We'll go pick up 1 quick headshot before he's taken down by Shinobi, and Nifty moves in. That would have been impressive at that hit, but no, he will go down, and Shinobi also closes out in the last player too. So a little close, trades going back and forth. A good execute from the Renegades, just unfortunately really straightforward and very easy to predict, as we saw from Rogue. They knew that was happening a good 10 to 15 seconds before the execute even came in, so they were able to pretty easily position themselves to catch quite a few of those trades. Yeah,
that's just it, right? Even if the trades don't go super favorably, they've got an overstack towards the site. They have a big flank coming out. Cadian's guaranteed a frag, might even get 2, and thankfully for them, even though it got kind of close, Shinobi got those 2 kills to make it more of a solid victory. But for some reason, Wrath has an MP9. I don't think they had too much money because they lost so many players. Renegades, however, have a ton, and Shinobi's the first to go down. So it's 3 rifles and an MP9 left versus 4 AKs and an op.
Now Africa's going to continue fighting inside of here. Cadian will get flashed out partially, but feels the need to peek it anyway. And that will feed another kill over to Naf. And it's not just him hiding out down here either. JKS sits behind the smoke down there in the lower tunnels. Yustillo elsewhere on the map is going to be able to pick up a kill, but we finally see some trades from Rogue. Unfortunately, it's not really enough to bring them back into this round, as it's basically going to have to turn into Hiko acing this if they wanted to win this and at least hold the lead coming out of the half, since now it's down to a 1v3, and he's out of position on the opposite site. Renegades moving in to take B control. Hiko is going to go the norm route. Obviously, he'll attempt it. It's the 15th round, but you know, it's not going to look so great as they position Renegades in just some pretty standard positions to hold this off. Smoke before the molly fades away to hinder his vision, and as he peeks out, Nifty actually misses. First time in a while we've seen him miss a shot, so Hiko will get that kill. Obviously, though, like I said before, Naf is there for a quick trade, and they shut it down. So it's the Renegades recovering after a bit of a shaky start there. They hold an 8-7 lead at the beginning of the first half. Stick with us to see if they can maintain that, or if Rogue is going to keep it competitive as we switch sides in just a few moments.
ESL Pro League is brought to you in part by Intel, the City of Odense, GeForce GTX, Lenovo Legion, Bedway, Pay Safeguard, Logitech G, Mountain Dew League, Xfinity, and ESEA.
We are back again, folks. It's been a little bit of a surprise here in our first opening match, the Renegades versus Rogue. Many people, including myself, thought this was going to be a quick victory for the Renegades, especially after just coming off of a first-place victory at the Starlighter tournament in China, but apparently not. It's neck and neck, exactly 8-7 at the end of the first half here on Overpass, but Rogue, the actual Twitter account, in fact, tweeted at me and said it is their best map, so that would somewhat make sense there.
Yeah.
They're picking up quite a few rounds.
Yeah, I mean, that's good and bad because, you know, they lost a couple of other anti-ecos, but it's hard to say whether or not there was really a flaw of their setup or just a couple of individual mistakes that lost them the rounds, because it seemed like it was the opening kill that really set Renegades off on those victories. Now, that being said, overall, they look quite good. Their forward CT setups were pretty solid. They shut down Renegades before they were even able to make it to bathroom sometimes. There was no bomb plants on the early rifle rounds. Towards the end, they maybe cleaned it up, and it started with a clutch from Nifty, which was, I think, was very important. But kind of still surprised at the fact that the Renegades didn't have a greater start to begin with, considering they were able to win the anti-eco, the first anti-eco.
Yeah, and they did eventually end up coming out on top towards the end of the half there. And the good news is that was on T side, so they're going to come off T side with an 8-7 lead. And now, since obviously it's a CT-sided map, we hope that on CT side they're a little bit more solid, a little bit more well put together. Maybe their expectations are more well centered too in terms of what to expect here from Rogue, and that they close at the match from this point forward. That would be my expectations going into the second half here. I don't know exactly what Rogue are going to bring to the table on T side, but we'll wait and see.
It's interesting that they both have the expectation to win, but they have different motivations. Right now, Rogue are just trying to stay away from relegation, or stay away from being in the conversation of relegation, whereas Renegades are actually looking for the ability to make the LAN finals. Both should be equally motivated, I think.
Yeah, I think for Rogue, it's more about just staying away from the auto relegation spot, which is at the bottom, 14th place if they manage to get there, because I think they're 13th right now. So they want to make sure that I believe it's Ghost doesn't overtake them, and they at least can fight for their chance to stay in Pro League against whoever the move-up teams end up being for North America.
That's got to be the most stressful thing as a pro player. If you're hovering around the bottom of Invite, that's probably one of the worst things that could possibly happen, you know. So
yeah, there's such a huge difference as well in just the exposure between the two leagues. So as we are going to see the pistol round start off, Nifty getting plenty of warning about this, but he's actually only going to be able to get one kill. Would have thought he'd get more. Same for Azur, as he takes a very aggressive peek, and now he's going to lose his teammate here, so it's basically just him alive, but he's managing it with that trade. They're down to another even 2v2. Naf had seen him jump at the dice box, just way too slow to react to that, and he's smart about this. He doesn't peek out any further, backs up actually behind the bank, and is going to buy some time for Yustillo to creep forward. However, Rogue also read into this possibility. They know that it's possible that someone would have flanked them, but as Yustillo moves in, they're going to see this, that they're quickly going down through connector, and they're going to be able to easily beat them to the site.
Yeah, that was kind of a big mistake by Rogue. They started running while they were still able to be heard by Nafly, and so 2 CTs in position. There's still a chance here with some nice shots to be hit. Oh, but the trades are out, and they just needed to walk a little bit longer. They don't know that JKS was long. They don't know where he was in the first place. This is a nice trade. And as they got into the site, you know, they were clearly worried that because there were still 2 players up and their smoke had dissipated, that they couldn't be able to get a plant easily. But if they had walked a little bit longer, then the rotate wouldn't have come out so soon. Maybe they could have kept 1 player there to make noise to come back on a late rotate. Instead, they kind of panicked and let go of shift a little bit too early, I think.
Yeah, so unfortunately that's going to end up costing them, and potentially will cost them any chance of keeping this game close, at least at the start of the half, as this, in theory now, assuming they don't get anti-ecoed, or assuming they don't get ecoed, will allow for the Renegades to shoot up to around 11-7 or so. But it's going to be a bit of a slow start to this round, with Rogue taking their time, moving out of connector here. They did spot Nifty from the looks of it, so he's just going to, even gets tagged on the way back there too. Not for too much though, only down to about 60 HP, so he's still going to be able to get back to the site pretty safely, but now he's blind. Now they don't have any intel about what may or may not be pushing towards the site. Katie, will help them out a little bit with that as he moves in, tries to tag the player crossing bank, and will miss it, but it does reveal their intentions, and that, again, they still have this presence towards the A site. So for now, Renegades are going to keep 3 here, with the 2 others actually pretty deeply committed to B, so they're going to have to get this intel in pretty quick fashion in order to have these rotates arrive in time, especially if they lose quite a few trades on the way in. Nifty getting aggressive, just can't find a kill, and he quickly gets wrapped on by Wrath there. Azur will be able to sneak back out, but Vice moves in to trade onto him. Now it's all on Naf, but he can only pick up 1 additional kill. Essentially just keeps it even into a 2v2, as now those B players have to rotate up and win an even fight.
Dang, they actually threw like it seemed like a pretty accurate double nade, but didn't do enough damage. Rogue are in a great spot now. They've got proper after plan spots. Cadian all the way in the back with a scout to take first contact.
Still doing a decent amount of damage, but he did get tagged on the way out there by the scouts. And he misses that second shot, but Shinobi holds on. Yustillo knows he's low, though, over to the pistol. He's able to finish him up, but there's still very little time left to actually jump onto this bomb and defuse it. He'll tag it to try and get Cadian out. He will peek it, but Yustillo just can't find it, so now he's going to jump onto the bomb and, yeah, eventually gives up, realizes it's going to be futile to stay on it. Runs into the corner, and is this going to be enough? No, it's not. He will die to the explosion, and Rogue will win the round while also wiping the slate clean of every CT.
Considering his health, he might as well have just stuck it. I mean, that's definitely the best place to go when you're low on HP and you need to save. I mean, that's where everyone should go. Into that corner, you take the least amount of damage instead of running directly on the bomb, under the bomb for 10 seconds through B and then out to short and stuff like that. But from that spot, Rogue were set up nicely. I mean, they got the bomb down, got great afterplant spots, and you got to appreciate the explosiveness when getting onto the site. And they exploited Renegades just like Renegades exploited them in the first half.
Now this time Rogue are going to be very, very active in pushing onto this B site. No delay at all. They basically just rush it, and it works out well. They clear out the first player, and now they're just going to mop up any stragglers that are still trying to hide on the outskirts of the site. 2 kills for them right at the start of the round. Renegades unfortunately not able to trade anything back here, so it should be... Oh, hold on. Nifty sneaking in. Takes a moment to get that first kill. Does pick it up, but will be traded after that. Naf also found with a scout. I think after this action, nope, the odds of Renegades upsetting here and retaking the site are completely gone down the drain, especially with them being held out from these CT tunnels. Completely smoked away by Rogue, so Rogue should be able to easily hold on past the timer and just win this on the explosion. Especially with shots like that from Wrath. Nicely done. And that now leaves only JKS alive, who, while he may be able to move in here and sneak a gun away after the explosion, is definitely not going to be defusing it. Yeah,
I think a gun might be blown towards him, potentially, so... yeah, at least he gets the UMP. I mean, that's a gun that you can use on any round.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 9-9, good pullback by Rogue. They tie it up. Renegades don't have enough money to buy up. They're gonna keep the UMP, recycle the armor, but not commit anything past that. And just like Rogue did, I'd like to see a stack on the CT side, or a stack or an aggressive push, some play for information. I love doing this. Take the first person out to spot for information and then have everybody else stack B pretty much. It's pretty foolproof. Now the best T-spawn can actually get out of sight, but it's not common. So you can hope that, and especially on an eco where you're willing to take a gamble, that you are going to likely see a T or at least see them jumping or something like that and get any information towards A. But with that in mind, Rogue have traded that information, shied the CT back to the site, stacked B, set up in a default, but not committed to anything.
Yeah, and so with all their players still sat back here, not being able to make any moves into a site just yet, things will remain very quiet. And again, this is still a round that they should win pretty handily. Just using Cadian to scope out the A site real quick and get a pretty good idea anyway about what they may be facing over on that B site, but at the moment he's only been able to find Nifty peeking him, which he only has a USP, so that's not much for him to be able to manage over here. Should be able to easily take him down if he decides to push.
Yeah, no team should actually rotate off of this. They see one smoke, they see one person, that's all they should believe that is there. And yeah, they've really stood strong here, stacked B. 30 seconds, they've got to push in.
Shinobi's going to do it first, as he actually kind of just moves in alone here. The others are rotating up through a connector over to the A site. They make the right read on this. Shinobi, not really much of a surprise since he's alone in that site that he will get overwhelmed, but in the meantime, Hidiko's moved in, cleared out Nifty. That's the entire A site gone, and with about 10 seconds in excess, they're going to be able to plant while having full control of A, even that back area behind the steps and in bank too. So CT's realized they get outwitted there, and with now 2 umps in their arsenal, they are going to call for another save.
Yeah, it was some good mid-rounding by Rogue. It was clear that they wanted to try to go B at the beginning of the round, but when they got the good information that it was likely a stack towards B and Cadian didn't get a kill at A, only saw one person, it was kind of 1-to-1 that they had to run it back. The time was a little low, and you don't like to see that if you're looking at it from the perspective of the terrorists, but because they still had a player left in B, they know that he could be used to kite anybody there, try to keep their attention, make sure they can't rotate out, force them to fight, that it was fairly safe to make that run back. So that's what you love to see, right? You love to see that a team, even though they look like they're committed to a site, they leave their options open by keeping somebody on the other side of the map so that all your teammates don't have to run through and clear everything on their way out. Yeah. Cadian can tell them stairs is definitely clean, forward bathroom is definitely clean.
They also don't overcommit and leave anyone out to dry from within the site there too. We did see one player ending up getting traded because he kind of pushed on his own, but besides that, still a pretty quick transition over to the other site to make sure they take control and shut down the round. So Rogue have brought it back, and now they hold the lead after, once again, we had a bit of a snafu on the pistol with the Renegades taking control of it this time and then getting traded out seconds later.
What is that, snafu?
Yeah.
What is that, a food?
No, it's like a troubled instance.
Snaku?
Snafu.
Japanese snack?
I don't know.
Snafu?
It could be. Yeah, I don't know.
What's it taste like?
It's not a food.
All right.
It's like a... Can't think of it.
It's like a granola bar?
It's like a bad thing. I don't know.
Nani?
Loud screeching sound. Well, let's see here. Now both teams having the gunpowder. Renegades obviously still going to be using those umps that they've scavenged over the previous 2 rounds, and it looks like they're going to try to use some of it inside of the connector steps here. Naf able to move out, gets the double kill. He will get traded, but they still have the player on top steps too, and Cadian has lost the position to this player. They're going to try to molly him back out. The good news is they do counter you still down below, so they have full control down here, and that's going to cause Hazard to smoke himself and retreat just to make sure that they maintain the number advantage. And now, actually, JKS is going to be trapped, but the missed-stop shot from Cadian means that he can just clean up shop down here. Picks up the kill on a Cadian and Vice, and Renegades will secure the first gun round.
Super clean gun rounds. Stairs control, pretty standard stuff. Good crossfire here. Azure taking the attention away from Naf. Naf pitching it at the right time, and then forcing the T's to split up between 2 spots and realizing that we're in a terrible spot. And that was great. So that was nice. They tied up. Rogue had enough money to put together another buy. A little low grenades, which means they definitely bought down to 0, but they at least have their op to work with. And it's kind of interesting because they're looking like each other.
Early action
nice
here,
trades.
but a nice trade coming out from Cadian to make sure that he finds Azure before he can fall back at A long there. They keep it down to a 3v3. A little bit of a shocker for Rogue at the start of the round, but they keep it even. And now it's going to split up these CTs too, as Renegades will basically just have to position their players all across the map, all in different positions. None of these players really tradable either. So they're going to have to hope that they can all hold on. As if Rogue just rushes into one side as a big unit here, and someone like Naf goes down right from the start, that might be the end of the round before they're even given a chance to retake.
3-on-3. This is where the real CS begins. Okay, this is where the playbooks are out, and you've got to make on-the-fly adjustments. A lot of information is traded hands, and both the T's and CTs are going to try to sell their opponents a bridge. So what will Rogue do with this? It looks like they're taking the more practical route, making sure to clear everything out since they have some time left over. They don't have to do any gambles just yet, but look like they are favoring a B hit. Now, they'd be right about one thing, that the majority of the CTs are at A. It's 2 out of 3. Naf is over here to take first contact at long. And
succeeds.
Gets
an easy first kill here. No flashes or anything to counter out his position. He is still going to be left alone, however, but will probably quickly call for rotates as he would have been able to hear the footsteps from Hiko moving out through Monster there. He goes for an attempt at least at the quick pre-fire, but Naf still alive, still fragging, at least up until Cadian moves into the site. Problem is Cadian is now alone, and he only has 5 seconds left on the clock there anyway. It was pretty much impossible for him to win that. So JKS will take him down, and that secures round 11 for the Renegades as we go back and forth in the lead, and for now it's the Aussies that have control of it.
Yeah, now it looks like, okay, why didn't Cadian just immediately run away with the op? But I think he assumed that if he was able to cross to the box, he would have had just enough time to maybe plant. And even though there's a CT on the side, it might be difficult for them to get right there. But from our perspective, obviously, we have like a close eye on the clock at all times. Yeah, you know, it's pretty obvious that he should have run in that moment. And say that especially because Rogue don't have much to work with. And overall, it was a nice 3v3 from Renegades. I like that Naf got that aggressive information early instead of staying on the site, allowing them to get in, and then calling for a rotate whilst trying to stay alive in pit, which is a much harder job. Decided to try to find one fight. I guess fortunately for him, it wasn't an op, but try to find one fight and then delay from there.
We do see Rogue shifting their players again, looking for a quick way to execute, more than likely out onto B, despite them keeping Shinobi over here at A long as well. But the problem is Shinobi not exactly sure what he's going to be able to get done from that spot, so it looks like he's starting to slowly shift back down, regroup with Wrath, and both of them will probably end up moving down here into this group of players at Construction 2 to look for a way to execute. Actually, looks like Shinobi is going to head up to check A as well here, but again, they don't have any utility or anything for this execute, so more than likely they'll just peek out to their own deaths if they're not careful. They do actually catch Azure tossing a nade while he was still in the open, so that wasn't the best position for Azure to play that from. Fortunately, he'll get knocked out. There's still both Nifty and Naf here to defend it. I think, however, with that one kill, Rogue are going to take this as a sign to rotate up and attempt to execute here. So yeah, here they come. Nifty's easily spotted. All this, the double op setup is working out really well for these guys. JKS even moving into the fight here too. And Naf with a pistol in hand on the 5-7. He's going to mop up shop, taking down Wrath and Hiko to still win the round in relatively clean fashion.
Yeah, extremely clean. 4 alive. That's one of the cleanest NTEs that we've seen in this entire game, which is part of the reason that rounds have been traded back and forth so often. It's because no team has had a clean route into their full-on rifle rounds, and with the money low, it's way more exciting because that's like a chance for the team to come back into it, as the other typically won't have all the utility they want. This round is going to be an exception. Renegades have 5 Molotovs.
He's still here too, trying to get aggressive, doesn't realize it yet, but so Hiko has walked right past him, and he's going to need that trade too, as the fight for B is quite close at this point. Naf is the pit position, but he's stuck here, so Wrath is going to push him, knock him out of the fight. You still trying to wildly spam inside and deny the plant, but he's not going to get anything done from there. Rogue aren't taking typical positions at all here. Actually planting a little bit of a weirder spot there, so he still is not going to be able to detect that and counter it. Still an even fight, still 3v3, and better for Renegades is that Rogue, for the most part, have used pretty much all of their utility. They got one more HE grenade sitting on Wrath, but that's it. Meanwhile, the Renegades still have mollies, smokes. If they use this properly, they can pretty easily get back in. That's going to force Wrath back out, but Wrath spams through the paneling and takes down Nifty anyway. Now it's up to Azur as he's alone here, spamming, and he can't even transition that spray into a second kill. So Wrath will take him down with a massive 4K to secure an 11th round for Rogue.
Yeah, excellently played from Wrath. The kid, the young kid, the kid who couldn't play half the season because he was too young. I mean, it's a great problem to have. Long future ahead. But that was pretty tight. It was a pretty good retake, it seemed like. You still was in a very good spot where he was controlling short and long, and I love how he played the smoke on short. That's something you can't do if you have a teammate to worry about. But if you've got someone to babysit the kids, you can play around the smoke for yourself.
He's still almost losing himself right at the beginning of that round. In fact, he still will. Due to him being out of position there, Hiko and the others just walk right in through Monster. They're going to call this out, so rotates will start moving down quickly, and Nifty catches a trade in the process, but he also catches about 90% of his HP being lost there. Azur, though, with the second one, brings us back alive for the CTs. However, Cadian's going to try to stop that. Now, they're kind of stuck here, too. Rogue have good sight control. Azur's going to attempt to get boosted over top of this smoke, but really nothing to be seen for him. And for the second round in a row, the attempt to spam through the smoke and kill the planter is unsuccessful. So Rogue will hold really good control, and Renegades seem kind of stuck. Again, though, they have good utility. They have 2 smokes to try and use, but neither one of them seem to be propping up for it at all. Shinobi goes back down to Monster for another kill, and he's ready to kill Azur if he overpeaks too much here. But it looks like Renegades are just going to call this off and save.
So they tie it up. They're low on utility, but they keep 3 alive on this round. They'll be able to full buy up again, and Rogue are 12-12. This is getting really sticky for both teams. It's so close, but the more you trade back and forth, the more it favors the terrorists who have less money that they need to spend on full buy rounds. So Renegades suddenly have their backs against the wall. They have 2 players with guns. I think that their best opportunity here is to try to recycle these. Don't buy up behind it. Do as much damage as you can on this round, knowing that Rogue are not incredibly low, but relatively low. And think about saving off match points as opposed to taking a lead right here. Naf's got the op, and he has been an X factor. He's got 24 kills in this half. He's been playing B. Very important spot here on the CT side as well, as Rogue have shown an affinity towards this site. But now it's up to Rogue to make it seem like A is still an option. Otherwise, they're going to have the same gamble stack problem that they did on that eco. And it doesn't seem like they want to do it. Instead, they want to hold for pushes, not make any presence towards A, and assume that Renegades will push. Otherwise, I don't know. Will they work into the site carefully, or what will be the case?
Nifty's doing some exploring over there towards long now too, since he hasn't seen anything push down short towards bathrooms. I do like how we have, I believe it's Shinobi in the back, who's going to be at least throwing a couple nades out to long to keep that illusion alive, and that causes a rotate to move over. And also, this ends up being a pretty big mistake. Renegades trying to play aggressively, and we can see JKS, I think, was trying to pick up an extra gun. The Vice will be able to take him down while he's scrambling to find that. Easy clears so far for Rogue, not even losing a single player on the way in here. And now Nifty jumping forward. I think Vice heard that.
It's actually right in the bomb plant zone with the bomb coming towards him, but that smoke's about to blow. Oh,
it's working as bait at least for Naf, because he's going to be able to find a kill from heaven there. And now Nifty falls back behind the smoke. Rogue, for whatever reason, really struggling to get this plant onto the ground here, and they're giving Naf opportunities to find kills. That's his second one already. He's lost his teammate, so now he's alone, but all right, this might be the death. Oh my goodness, right here, even hits that shot too! Went to go over to the knife, and yeah, Cadian's finally able to find him as he spams in to the smoke with the AK, but that could have been way, way worse if they let him go free there.
Dude, it is crazy to see that Naf knows exactly what he needs to do in that situation. A lot of players would just sit behind the smoke and wait for kills to come their way. And obviously Rogue are not going to give him those kills. And Naf decided to be a little bit more proactive, almost get something going. And they just pushed the smoke in time to avoid him, but could have gotten scary otherwise. But here we have it. Renegades have decided to buy to keep off of 14. Now they could have saved one more, had an op again, full rifles. And now it seems like if Rogue win this round, they're going to be able to get a match point, no problem. I wonder if this is the best solution, the best idea for Renegades to buy here.
Rogue are also finally changing up their hit a little bit. They've been pretty much favoring either direct B or delayed B for the last 5 or 6 rounds, I would say. And finally, they're going to start to put pressure somewhere else on the map as they send most of their players out A long this time and just slowly clear it. There's been no obstacles, and they even had a shot onto Azur there, too, from Cadian. It looks like, you can see from his perspective, but probably caught him crossing out past the APC. That's going to bring him down low nice and early in the round. It's also one of the players with a full rifle, too, so helps to bring him down earlier on here. And that will cause a third player to rotate up prematurely. I think it's Nifty that ends up moving up here into a new defensive position. But the 2 B players are still very much secure down there. And they're also pretty deep in B, too, which is going to add an extra about 2 to 3 seconds onto the rotate. As they move back in, the early nades from Rogue are good. They scramble the CTs, and Mollies are going to put them into the open. Naf is allowed to get a double kill, and now a triple kill, too, as he falls back. But besides that, Rogue clear it out. However, now they're at a disadvantage, and Shinobi probably a little bit annoyed by that, getting spammed through the dice box. Not for a whole lot of HP, but still annoying anyway. And he's going to fall back into the bathrooms position while Cadian takes a different spot. Normally when it's planted here, both the Ts will go right into bathrooms, but Cadian's going to hang out at A long. Not sure if... Yep, looks like Naf did manage to spot Cadian before he got flashed out there. And now they're just going to try to push him back, get rid of the pressure at A-long. It works out, and Cadian, if he goes over to the wrong side, too, they push forward, immediately kill Shinobi, and Cadian is in no position to stop this. So Renegades don't even have to kill both players to retake that. They do it in very simple fashion, and finally pick up that next round for themselves as they tie this at 13 now.
Damn, man. Naf going in. 30 frags with that round. It was 27 before the round started, so seriously high impact. I mean, if we look at that round, from my point of view as an analyst, I see that honestly Rogue had the better setup. They got forward A control or 5v5. They got the execute they wanted to, which is their comfort zone. Renegades were playing 3 players on site. The trade should not have gone their way, and if seriously, if Naf didn't get all 3 of those kills, they would have just lost straight up. 3v2 in the after plant with an op, wall control and bathrooms, and enough time to get set up. There should have been no way that they won. That being said, Rogue still have at least money to buy. But it's going to be more of even footing between these 2 teams.
We're back to a neck-and-neck battle, essentially.
Yeah.
And Renegades again here early on in the round start to take more aggressive positioning since they came out on top of that last one. They're going to take a few more risks this time. And specifically, Azur is probably going to be the most forward player, him along with Nifty playing into the connector again. And a little chuck of the nade, and they try to plants it right through, and actually that's really good timing on the nade too, as that was just when Hiko was trying to creep forward to the steps, so catches him in the open with his pants down, and that's going to be Naf picking up a nice first kill, which will not be traded anytime soon here. Rogue will continue to crawl towards B, back to the old standard essentially for them, despite the early loss, and again, they don't expect a player to be in steps there, so Azur creeps back out, finds another kill. This is great from the Renegades so far. They barely had to work for any of these frags. Just being gifted to them. Yustillo knows they're pushing out a monster, but I think mistimes his flash slightly. They weren't fully committed to that just yet, so they were able to dodge it. Shinobi catches that kill. Now it's a bit of a panicked rotate, since besides him, the site was actually left relatively open, and that's going to be Rogue getting a plant. Stuff from Naf here too to try and find them early on, but they actually haven't been able to see him. Molly's gonna go right past his face in an aggressive push. No, it doesn't work out actually. JKS trades back both of those kills, and Nifty takes down Vice. So very, very quickly do we see that entire Rogue setup in the post plant just get completely destroyed due to them being over aggressive. And that's gonna be Renegades taking the lead back again, now 14-13 over Rogue.
Oh, I can't believe it pays off. I mean, if we look at this round from the perspective of an analyst, we see that Renegades were pretty well set up. They got those 2 opening frags. It was 3v5. The site should not have been taken. They got Yustillo for free, and Yustillo, I thought, played it pretty well. timed his flash well. It might have maybe missed, or maybe they were playing anti-flash or anticipated after hearing the bounce, but had 3 players that could have, at least one of them maybe would have gone down. Even did the shot to make them turn, and you wonder why the B site was left open besides him, and he was in such a frag-heavy position. Now Renegades going back to, or Rogue going back to basics and trying to rush B straight up. The bomb has been lost. They aren't in a position to recover it, and they are low on HP.
It's a perfect spot for Naf to punish it. Actually, mistimes his check of construction over there, so it looks like Kanan gets a bit lucky and is able to sneak in there and take the bomb back away. But now it's the plan, because Naf's going to know, obviously, that he takes this somewhere else and falls back with it. Are they going to try to re-execute into B or try to swarm up towards A? Nifty will be under no pressure. He can just sit there and watch for that. In the event they attempt to quickly push through the stairs or wrap through CT, he'll be able to detect that, and even Hiko is checking to make sure that no one from the CT side tried to get aggressive and rotate quickly down through those stairs here. They'll probably just freeze up for a couple of seconds, and more than likely, since we haven't seen any signs of them falling back through the connector, we'll see them re-exec out onto B and attempt to still get back into that site, but the odds are not going to be looking great. They also had all this utility, which went pretty much completely unused on the initial execute. I'm going to imagine that Vice, Shinobi, and Wrath also had a pretty decent amount of it. But with this much left over, they can actually still prop up for a pretty decent execute if they try to use these smokes in that molly.
Better go to pick up the re-aggression in the long after some time has passed.
Again, none of that being used on the way back in here. Waiting for Naf to go for the peak. Hiko, he's going to be patient about this, but not seeming to be patient enough. The molly goes down, and actually he doesn't check it. Oh, a quick flick to correct that, though. And that saves not only his own life, but that of Cadian's, too, as he's sitting right behind him. Flash down below, spots Azure in time, and once again corrects the spam, but Nifty's going to be able to trade it back this time, so it goes into a 1v1. And Nifty should have a pretty good idea, generally speaking, about where Cadian is. It's all just about positioning himself to find that final frag, along with leaving himself enough time to defuse.
I like that he actually waited the smokes out. So now he has a Molotov and a smoke. So he can force a peek if he wanted to. I don't like that he used the molly first, but it's going to smoke defuse with the molly going. This is going to be kind of hard to spam, honestly.
Yeah, get it.
He gets away with it. Ah, that was nice. He didn't throw the smoke directly on the bomb. He threw it a little bit forward to deny anyone who might have been coming from long B. This kind of obscures their vision as well. The closer you throw it to your target, the harder it is for them to tell, because they have no points of reference to line up the spam with. So instead of just dropping it where he is, does something a little bit cooler. Very nice way to get a match point. Another round where it looked like Renegades had it in the bag, though, which is kind of, we're not too excited about the fact that they actually won the round. They were supposed to, in a sense. They shut down the long B execute. That's where the excitement was. Nice frag from Cadian, however, to start off what might be the last round. But it's 5v4 here for Rogue. Opportunity to bring it to OT, of course.
Renegades also getting pretty aggressive across the map, too. You just look at Bathroom's been pushed all the way up. We haven't seen this in eons from them. Even Ustillo out towards water, too, is a little bit unnatural compared to what we've been seeing for the rest of this half from the Renegades here, because it's potentially going to go all the way to round 30 if we can continue to see kills like this come out from Rogue. Nifty missing that trade. All of a sudden, it's a 5v2 as they also got Azure somewhere else on the map. And yeah, they'll quickly swarm in to surround Nifty, leaving him no chance to fall back. He still knows that this round is over, so he's going to hide away and just save this M4, as this will go all the way to round 30 to decide. It's going to be 15-14. Renegades still on map point, but Rogue with the potential to take it to OT.
This is an incredibly important save. We're seeing that they're about to get reset in one of the worst ways possible. When we do the math, I think Nifty's going to have like 2,300 bucks. 2,800 for JKS, 1,400 for Naf and Azure, and then Ustillo, who might drop this rifle, pick up something else, but wants to hang on to all this utility. It's a big map, but they've got a lot of time to search. He's in a very common save spot as well, probably playing it as best he can. I don't know if they'll clear everything.
Apparently not that.
Oof, he's going to start using his utility. He's going to have more fights on his hands, try to reposition, and gets killed. That's a big denial.
Yeah, and you can just see the immediate impact of that when it comes down to the money for the Renegades. They don't have anything at all here. One player's going to get an M4, and they throw it over to Azure. But besides that, it's going to be mostly upgraded pistols and slight amounts of utility being played in. And actually, yeah, it does make more sense to throw that M4 over to Naf, considering the kills so far. I think he's almost double of his next teammate. At 31 kills right now, so relying on him to try and pull off a massive play here to save them and end this before this ends up going into OT.
They have shown spots of weakness on their anti-ecos, just generally speaking. So, I wouldn't put it past them in such a high-pressure situation to potentially give up a W. Now, they have gone B on all their anti-ecos. Here's one where they actually work towards A. And if they show more than 1 or 2 people, I think it's going to be a huge tell for the Renegades. Opening kill, though.
Cadian's going to be able to find Nifty, and the good news here is that for the most part, Rogue does seem to be executing towards long, but yeah, but they have this stack outside of bathrooms. They're going to check for it, though. Shinobi gets the first kill easily. Hiko with the second. This is looking like a quick mop-up here. Even with this flank, this should only get 1 to 2 kills at most now that it's been revealed. And he's also the last man standing here, so he's going to be going up against the firing squad if he peeks out there too quickly. Actually, the missed op shot. Oh, and a good flash, too, but he does end up only getting 1 more kill on Wrath before Cadian takes him down, and that does secure the tie. 15-15, so we go to OT to settle this first map between Rogue and the Renegades. Certainly not the result that I think either of us expected.
Yeah, but for Rogue, they do get a point because they go to OT.
That's true, yeah. So they were going to be both teams actually going to be guaranteed at least 1 point. That does mean, though, for the Renegades, that winning this outright is not going to be worth as much if they were to win this just in regulation, too. It's only worth 2 points now to win compared to 3 if you win in regulation.
Okay, so that's a tough spot to be in. Now we're really looking at this from the perspective of, well, if they 2 of the series, they get 4 points, they start to move ahead. Or they get 6, excuse me.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's how it works. Right?
I don't know.
Pretty sure I had it right.
Yeah, that might be right.
So I think because I think they get 3 for an outright win, 2 for an OT win, and 1 for an OT loss. And then obviously 0 if you lose regulation.
Yeah, I appreciate that system because, you know, both teams, if a game's 16-14, you almost feel like the team that got 14 should have got something for it. But it is a loss, right? It is a loss. So at least in OT there is something. I like the system quite a bit. The only problem is when it comes down to something crazy like a round differential, that always sucks.
Yeah. I think there's enough like tiebreaker circumstances in the current system to where you won't have to worry about round differences anymore because you have the if teams do tie, it goes to like the head-to-head results to figure it out right now. If I'm remembering it correctly as well.
Yeah.
So if one team 2-0'd another during the course of the season, then they'll like be on top of them in a tiebreaker situation.
Mm-hmm.
So that works out pretty well. But guys, we are just waiting for the players to ready up, and as soon as they do that, we will be going live with OT. It's MR3 16K start for the format, so max money. Neither team's gonna have to worry about any economy issues throughout the course of this the halves, unless they just go crazy and buy like auto snipers on every round, which probably won't happen. It's a safe bet.
I think this will come down to who's going to be better when they have everything to work with. So I think that maybe does help out the Renegades as well, but Rogue have shown prowess on this map. And they have done some stuff that's pretty impressive. I think the flaw in at least a couple of the flaws in Rogue's play is that they make it kind of obvious if it is the CTs that go and look for information. They can make it kind of obvious as to what site they're going to move to. Right? They set up for B, they wait 40 seconds, no push comes out, they're passive at A, and they do that because they want to have that 5v5. But if they do that and a team pushes, then the team will get a big flank, and the team will overstack the current site, and Rogue don't really have any idea. But Renegades haven't really been pushing for a lot of that information. They've only had a big flank like one other time. A team like SK, I think, who are much more aggressive on their CT sides, probably would have been able to capitalize on that more often. Now, I think as an adjustment for both teams, I'd like to see Rogue spend more time clearing out everything on the map and trusting a proper, thorough default, and then moving and picking a site so that they're less predictable. And for Renegades, when they don't see somebody, we'll get a little bit aggressive and try to get that information because it's invaluable.
Yeah, for the most part, this game has actually been like pretty straightforward in terms of the strategies. There's been a lot of just straightforward executes and whatnot, and oftentimes the round-winning kills have come because players were either out of position or not checking for flanks or things like that. It just seems to have been, really like one-dimensional in terms of the way this match has been going so far. That's the unfortunate thing about it. It has been close, but it also has been very straightforward in the fact that there's just one player flanking, kills 3 guys, the round's over from that point forward, or just a good sight hold, things like that. There's not really any crazy plays except for I think the one clutch we had from Nifty. It's been pretty straightforward rounds here throughout the course of the regulation.
Yeah, and you don't want on your anti-ecos as well to be predictable. Like that's the worst thing because that's when the CTs will be most keen on being aggressive, right? You don't even really have to talk about it as a team. You don't have to talk about being scared at all. You're going to take a lot of risks. You don't have to tell your IGL about it. You can just run around the map and try to push stuff because your team needs a 5v4 no matter what. There's no there's no auto snipers to worry about. There's no reason for your rifles to go get aggressive when you have like a giant buy and too much to lose, especially versus a low buy. but when the tables have turned, then you're going to get very aggressive. So I think at least Rogue won't have any ecos to worry about in
Yeah.
OT.
Well, guys, unfortunately, it is Tuesday, and you know what that means, Steam maintenance. So we are having a bit of an issue, I think, getting one of the players into the game. So while we wait for Steam to come back up, we are going to take a short break. As soon as he's back in, though, we'll resume this match and continue the overtime between Rogue and the Renegades here at the ESL Pro League. Stick with us.
Game, record, and stream without compromise on Intel Core i7.
Hello?
Anyone there?
Be focused. Be uncompromising. Be the best and never hold out. Pick your event. Place your bet. No matter who you are or what you're here for, it's our passion that unites us. Betway, for the love of the game.
All right, guys, and we are back. We do apologize for that little bit of delay, as due to the Steam maintenance, we had some problems getting the players back into the server and sorting out the proper config and everything like that, but I believe we pretty much have it ready to go now. For those of you who weren't with us, this is the Renegades versus Rogue, and our first map of the evening. It's being played on Overpass. It went all the way to 15-15, so regulation is done. All we have left is overtime to decide who's going to be taking this first map here.
I think I'm just hoping to see that they have the sickest strats ever prepared after that break. Better see some...
Give them plenty of time, right? Yeah.
Yeah, one absolute heater in OT with all the time they've had off to plan out this strategy. In fact, the first round, I hope they have something extremely convoluted, well executed. Hope they've been dry running.
Been scrimming it for the last 15 minutes or so.
Reading books on Counter-Strike.
Just looking up strats in the background as well while they were waiting for her to get back to the match. But all right, guys, it looks like we've got it tied up at 15-15. Let's go into it. 16K start, by the way, in case you can see that yourself. And it'll be MR3, which is pretty much the standardized format across the board nowadays, I think. I don't think anybody uses MR5 now.
MR5 is out.
Yeah. Oh, apparently so is that Flash. As Wrath will just get wrecked by it early on. And also, Vice will get into a perfect position to get some really good spam going. Brings Nifty down to 8 HP. So right off the bat, it's going to be massive damage done to one of the players from the Renegades. And their Opera at that, too.
Nifty low, but not out. In somewhat of favorable location. Wow, takes a small risk there, crossing before the smoke plumes, but realizes the T's will probably also respect it.
We're going to continue to slowly just crawl forward here. So they inch closer and closer to an A execute. They keep Vice back, watching for any counter monster pressure. But in the meanwhile, the more important note is going to be Azur, who's pushed all the way through the lower tunnels. This could actually come down to timing, as unfortunately his flank will get completely countered out due to Vice falling back at the perfect time to be able to catch him there. So no results, and Rogue seemingly looking great on this execute. They've already got Nifty down low from the spam earlier. If they know that or not is yet to be seen, of course. But as they move back in, and first entry's there, we do see a response from JKS, but he's going to be immediately traded by Vice. And the two remaining players, while they're here, they're not being given a whole lot in ways of angles to play out from. Naf even has to just push the Molotov to try and find some damage there. So they're both going to get pushed out of the site, and saving is going to be a little weird here, but it looks like they do it anyway, since the odds are just so heavily stacked against them.
Yeah, I mean, they probably should just go for it. They've got an op in an AK to lose, but or an op in an M4 to lose, but they've got a lot of money. They've got a lot of money to work with. Now, that was kind of a lackluster hold on the A site. They didn't really put up much of a fight. 2-player saving means 2 were committing, 1 rotator died. And Azur obviously got timinged. Who knows how that round would have gone if he got away with a big flank and heard Vice running past him and let his teammates know that it was A and all that. But, and also Renegades, Rogue, excuse me, they took their time clearing out A, didn't worry about anything else, and then just hit the site as they usually do, and they got away with it. But if Renegades continue to give them this much space at forward A, then I mean they're going to have favor going into every execute on A. So I personally would like to see Rogue do a pretty similar thing again. Renegades seem happy to fall back. Now Naf took some damage, and that's why he fell back. I wonder if he would have done the same thing if he had 100 HP or not. But I would have hoped not.
Wow. Completely different execute this time, by the way, from Rogue. He went from a slow play to now just kind of basically rushing B. And Naf, well, he's going to be ready to hold that as he gets 1 and 2 kills. Misses the third one, but we'll be able to correct that on a repeak. And with JKS picking up his own frag, they're down to just 1 on Rogue here. It seems like the fast play in B has, for the most part, failed. Hiko, in a 1v4, is going to try his best to correct this. Gets the 1 kill on JKS. Still 3 to go, however, and the Molly in Heaven is going to accomplish nothing. Even has to fall back to get the bomb, and that's ultimately what's going to kill him, as that lets you still push the sidewalk and get into a position to knock him out and tie us up again at 16-16.
Yeah, I feel like they kind of forced the issue here. There's so much utility, though. Why would you do something this early in the round? Typically, you do want to do a rush if you know that the other team, well, number one, if they're not going to be prepared for it, they're not going to have the counter nades available, or if they're going to be gamble stacking or something like that. And it didn't really seem like that called for a situation where you just hit B that hard. But potentially they weren't confident in going through their default again. I pretty much loved what they did last round, and for some reason, maybe I don't know, just didn't feel like they could do that sustainably.
Yeah, I guess we're trying to go for just more of the shock value of the B play, but that did not pan out at all. And this round, once again, they try to go for fast controlled A long, and it does not pan out. Azur even having the possibility to sneak out here from the A long area, but now that he's lost his teammate, he's going to have to be a little bit careful here, and they already know he's inside of that bathroom connector too. Nifty, you can see, just waiting for the perfect timing to go for it. And Naf, who is in a great position to catch Cadian if he peeks. Walk right into the op crosser. And that's going to be an easy kill for Naf to find. And once again, restores the advantage to the Renegades for right now, at least. Azur should have seen Vice there, as Vice got blinded back out, but Azur's not actually going to go for the kill. Just smokes it, spams into it a little bit now, but this is actually going to let Vice creep up pretty close. Doesn't have a flashbang to get through, he does have smoke and molly, but obviously that's not going to be too useful here. Tries to sneak past, and yeah, he actually will get that kill onto Azur. Yustillo, of course, is going to hear all of this, but his position gets checked, and with Nav finding at least one kill, he keeps us at a close fight, but he's still in a bit of a hot spot right now. He's alone, still going to be a couple more seconds before his teammate can get there. It's not that far away, though, and Nav with a beautiful shot knocks out Raph the flower pot, and then follows it through with one more onto Hiko. The shutdown from the Renegades gives them the lead at the end of the first half of OT, 17-16. They'll need 2 out of 3 of these rounds to win here.
2 giant rounds to follow up on the 30 kills that he had in regulation. I think that's 37 kills already, which is pretty amazing, honestly. And here we have Wrath actually trapped in a corner with all the utility. Hiko to try to swing wide to support him, but Wrath didn't have a good way to throw that utility out. I think if it was Hiko in that position, or excuse me, if Wrath was in Hiko's position, he would have tried to get that smoke out so that his teammate could reposition, but that option wasn't available. So, you know, another round where after the dust settles, Renegades are actually able to get a couple of kills in the default to begin with, and then once the execute comes out, Rogue falls short. So everyone's got money moving into the second half of the first OT. Cadian going for an aggressive peek on short. I like it. I think he might have heard somebody jumping off, and this is why he's holding the right side of the tunnel. But he's maintaining this information for his squad as they have 2 in stairs and 2 at A.
Good flash action on the Cadian, makes him panic a little bit. And he fires off the shot slightly too early, but returns the flash in kind over to Naf, which will keep him reserved for right now. Azur, though, he's playing with fire quite literally at the steps and also figuratively. So we have the 2 players stacked up on top. Azur actually trying to spam in. He's going to be able to get both of them. Elsewhere on the map, Hiko and Wrath both going to be able to find some trade kills, but with JKS and Azur still fragging out, that's going to leave only Cadian alive here now, solo in a 1v3, and also currently on the wrong site. So Renegades are going to be able to walk right up, find an easy plan on A, and as long as they watch all their positions, should be able to figure out where Cadian would make this clutch attempt from. He will go for it. We're in OT, so there's no reason really not to. But the odds are very much stacked against him. He's got 1 molly to attempt to flush one of the T's out of position. But besides that, he only has this op to play off. And I don't think Bank is going to offer him like an AK or anything to trade out to. And he's also going up against this basically perfect post-plant positions from Renegades too. This is going to be really tough, even if it was an even situation, let alone in a clutch, which is going to make this pretty much impossible. And he's been spotted out now, so they know he's here. They know he's going to attempt to tag onto the bomb at least, but he got into him, and with that missed shot, that seals the deal. He's going to be forced back and won't even be able to escape. Azur takes him down, and that puts Renegades up to map point.
Yeah, they've only got 1 more to win to close this out. That's to be a sad state of affairs for Rogue, who honestly I felt like could have done better in the first half of this OT. On CT side, they shouldn't be that much worse off, however, and Renegades were able to destroy them both at stairs, out at bathrooms with a good crunch where they had proper spacing and made sure to attack all the right spots, being aware of all the angles. Did come down to individual fights a little bit, but if they do win this game, it won't actually matter. It's going to be a couple of points going the way of Renegades, and Rogue still kind of in danger, only pulling 1 because of the OT.
Rogue also playing a lot more passively this time across the map, besides the aggression over there up to the A-long half wall. They don't really have anyone pressed out to try and look for intel here. No one trying to push construction or peek for monster. No one inside of the lower bathrooms at short A. They've held back quite a bit this time, as they're going to play close to the sites and essentially just wait for Renegades to execute this time around here, which it's going to be a while before that happens. Renegades have been playing into a default here. They've been splitting their players up all across the map to look for any opening advantages they may be able to get against Rogue. Rogue, however, despite playing passively before, Cadian has set himself on his own mission, pushing all the way down A-long. Now, unfortunately, I don't think he's going to be able to spot all that much, but it still could work out to align for a pretty early flank here if he times this appropriately. And oh no, actually, Nifty's going to go back, check for it, and he'll win the battle to take down Cadian. So scratch that flank. It's dead before it can even happen.
This might be the last round of the game. Big bit of information traded, opening kill taken for the Renegades. The ability to set up for an AXQ long and bathroom patrol secure Everybody postured up perfectly. 2 players in B as well.
And Utility going to be tossed in relatively quickly here, lining up the smoke wall for themselves. Trying to make the CTs as useless as possible as they go, and there's no smoke on the semi area for some reason, so they let Shinobi get that first kill. Ooh, and Yustillo, perfect timing to go up on the jump there to spot Hiko before he can cause some problems. He's going to continue this rampage too as he pushes forward and ends up with a very nice triple kill to close out the round. Very well done for the Renegades, flawless in OT, as they all, actually, excuse me, they lose 1 round in OT, but besides that, relatively flawless here as they go 4-1, take control. 19-16 is the final score of the first map, but because it does end in OT,